Welcome back to Love Unfiltered. I'm Logan. Today we're tackling a big milestone in any relationship, introducing your partner to your family. Whether it's your first time bringing someone home or the latest chapter in your love story, this moment can feel both thrilling and nerve-wracking. It's a big step that says, hey, this person is important to me. But with that step comes a ton of questions. Will my family like them? Will they get along? And what if things don't go as planned? Don't worry, we've got you covered. In this episode, we're breaking it all down. Why this moment matters, how to prepare, and what to do if worlds collide. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's explore how to navigate this exciting chapter in your relationship with honesty, humor, and heart. I have invited students from diverse backgrounds to share their unique perspectives on love, relationships, and everything in between. Let's go around and meet everyone. Please state your name, classification, and major.
What's up? My name is James. My classification is a freshman, and I am majoring in mechanical engineering.
I'm Dylan. My classification, I'm a sophomore, and I'm a digital media studies major.
All right. Thank you for taking the time to be with me. So let's get started. Introducing your partner to your family is more than just a casual meeting. It's a significant relationship milestone that often symbolizes deeper commitment and integration into each other's lives. It's a moment where two important parts of your world collide, signaling to both your family and your partner that this relationship holds real value. For many, family introductions bring a sense of validation and long-term intention. It's an opportunity for your partner to understand more about your roots, your traditions, and the people who shaped you. At the same time, it's a chance for your family to see firsthand who makes you happy and why. Of course, it's not without its challenges. Families can have strong opinions, unique dynamics, or even cultural differences that make these meetings feel intense. But when handled with care, these introductions can lay the foundation for stronger bonds and a deeper sense of belonging in your relationship. Can you guys share a relatable story or recent experience where, you had to introduce your partner to your family?
Would you like to go first?
Yeah, I can. I can share a few, actually.
Oh, okay.
The first time my girlfriend met one of my parents she was over at my house. They didn't know that. And our dad came home, and I was just like, well, guess it's time. So I just walked out and was like, yeah, this is. And my dad doesn't really care. He's more like me. Like, I wouldn't really care if it's just going to happen. My mom,
Yeah.
You know how moms are. They be all dramatic. So she was always making a big deal. She makes a big deal out of everything. So that's why I'm really reluctant to I'm always would be reluctant to, introduce my mom to anybody because she's just really dramatic. I don't even remember how she ended up meeting my mom, but it was probably just at my house, but actually planned. But so it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Also, my mom, yeah, it was cool.
Okay.
Got it. My experience is actually kind of the opposite. So when I met my girlfriend's family, I ended up coming over sometime around late October, sometime close to Halloween. I think it was the 27th. And what ended up happening was they were having a Halloween party because they were about to go to a trip in Tennessee or something like that.
Mm.
And so what ended up happening was I'm nervous the whole time going over and everything. But I met them. They were pretty cool people, and her father and mother, kind of sort of like your father in a way. They just didn't really I'm not going to say they didn't care, but they just were nonchalant about it. They were like, all right, cool. Nice. Y'all spending time together. It's cool. And it was honestly chill all around.
Okay. When I introduced my family to any boyfriends that I've had, it was what's your name? What are you into? Do you go to the same school? What are you majoring in? And all those type of generic questions that parents would ask to kind of interrogate them and just kind of figure out who they are.
Mm-hmm.
My mother's really, really good at reading people. So she can just look at you and maybe have a couple conversations with you and be able to come to a conclusion on if you're a good person or not, or you're a person I should be around and things like that. So, yeah, there was a lot of like charm used and things like that. But let's see, both my parents, they loved the first person I was with, and then the second person, my mom was kind of weary. She said that she could kind of like feel like a little aura, and she was just like listening to like his responses and stuff like that, and she was like, okay, I'm gonna keep an eye on this one. So but overall though, I kind of just bring them to the house. Maybe we're like going out, but I have to stop by, and I'm just like, hey, you want to meet my dad real quick or my mom real quick? And they're like, yeah. And then that's how they met. So yeah.
Yeah, moms usually have that type of just ability to them by default. It's so strange.
And I'm not gonna lie, she's always been right. Literally every time she met somebody and she was like, yeah, Logan, I don't know about that one. Then I'm like, I don't listen, of course. And then later down on the line, sure enough, she was right, And then for the people who she was like, yeah, they keep them close. Those people were actually genuinely good people and have been good friends to me. So yeah, I think I need to start listening to my mom more. All right. Introducing a partner to family members can feel intense because it represents a significant milestone in a relationship, symbolizing deeper commitment and integration of your personal life with your family dynamics. It's a vulnerable moment where two essential parts of your life, your romantic relationship and your family, intersect, and the stakes can feel high. The intensity often stems from the fear of judgment or rejection. You may hope your family will approve of your partner, as their opinions often hold emotional weight, while also wanting your partner to feel accepted and comfortable. Navigating potential family quirks, strong opinions, or cultural and lifestyle differences adds to the pressure. For many, this moment also carries the hope of building a harmonious connection between two worlds, while dealing with the unpredictability of how family members and your partner will interact. It's a mix of excitement, vulnerability, and the desire for everything to go smoothly, making it an experience that feels deeply personal and emotionally charged. Introducing a partner to your family symbolizes a pivotal step in a relationship, reflecting deeper commitment, trust, and the intention to integrate your partner into your personal life. It signifies that the relationship has reached a stage where you see potential for a long-term connection and want your partner to be acknowledged as part of your inner circle. This step often represents a merging of worlds, bringing together the people who have shaped your life with the person you envision sharing your future with. It's a gesture that shows you value your partner enough to involve them in the dynamics and traditions of your family. For some, this moment is also a way to seek validation or blessing from family members, aligning personal and familial values. Ultimately, it symbolizes growth in the relationship, marking a move from a private bond to a more open, integrated partnership. What are your thoughts?
Well, I did meet my girlfriend's African.
Okay.
And her parents are, I'm gonna say like, they came here. So her parents were not born here.
Mm-hmm.
So they're really traditional in their culture.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So obviously I can't meet her dad.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't met her dad. Her dad doesn't know I exist. He might have an idea, I'm sure. But her mom, I met her mom, I've been in her house, I met her grandma, and it's just something you just gotta like understand. Like, it's cool. The culture is obviously significantly different from like all the Western stuff that we be doing.
Mm-hmm.
So everything they do is kind of their own thing, and it's cool. It's just different. Like, I'm not a type of person. I'm pretty open-minded. Like, I'm not the type of person who's gonna be like, oh no, that's weird or that's different,
Mm-hmm.
or because it's different. Like,
Yeah.
whatever y'all do, that's cool. You like it, I love it. Now my girlfriend she was born here, so she's more Americanized, but like she still, is in touch with her roots and her culture, and that's also something she takes a lot of pride in about herself.
That's
So
true.
obviously I make initiative to make sure I appreciate that, and I know she appreciates it, and her family as well. Appreciate her family.
Have you tried to learn about like their culture?
No.
Okay. I would recommend it, because learning about other people's cultures is actually, I find exciting. I like learning about like what are the differences and comparing them to like my culture and stuff like that. And you honestly could learn a lot from it.
I mean, I'm open to learning about it, but I'm not gonna force myself to
I feel
because
that.
that's how I'm gonna end up, not liking stuff if I force myself to learn about it.
Hmm.
But she's going to Africa and for winter break.
Ooh, okay.
Obviously, I'm not going with her, but I don't even have a passport. But I was like, yeah, it'd be cool to go. That's a way I would learn, like, see it for myself.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I
a
like
hands-on
that.
type experience. I feel
I
that.
like that. Like just be there in their their country, and like that's a different, it's more of like a like you're just right there seeing it all and hearing the language, seeing their culture firsthand. I think that would be a really awesome
And I feel
experience.
like that's the only way to really appreciate it.
Mhm.
Like, I don't wanna go on a tangent, but a lot of movies. I'm gonna use movies as an example because this is the best way I can, relate stuff. A lot of movies show. I want to say like, let's use like a white savior trope for example. Y'all know what that is?
Yes, all the time.
Right.
Like, for example, Atticus Finch in I forgot How to Kill a Mockingbird
Yeah.
or To Kill a Mockingbird. He's that white savior figure to like this.
In any other culture.
Yeah,
Avatar, the blue people.
Mm.
So a white savior goes to another culture, learns the culture, da da da. That's like how the trope is, and like,
Oh,
yeah, exactly. It's like that in real
okay.
life because people say the white savior trope is harmful. Obviously, you see how it is because a white man saving this, minority group.
Mhm.
But
right.
like, it does shed light on the idea of being open to another culture and being able to like learn it, be around it, and
Right.
just accept it because that's really what the problem is with a lot of prejudice towards other people is they just don't see the people and understand like these people are human too. They're just living life trying to be happy, stuff like
Right.
that.
And like in the Avatar, like, Jake was sent there obviously to kind of like study them and then go back and report and whatever, but he ended up falling in love with their culture.
Exactly.
The more time he spent there, the more he realized that he loved the Navi and he loved their culture, he loved their history and the art and everything. And then he fell in love with a Navi.
Exactly.
And so that changed his outlook on his mission. He was like, "Yeah, I don't think we should destroy this. Actually, I'm gonna fight for this because this is beautiful, and I feel as though it's like my new home."
Exactly.
So I like that part of the movie. I never really thought of it as like I never heard of the white savior trope. I've actually
Yeah.
never heard
Like
that.
what's the movie? There's a lot. There's a lot.
There's so many
A lot. Like
movies that
what's
Really?
enforce
Mulan? I
that trope.
think
Um,
I haven't
I don't
seen. I
think
don't think I've seen
Mulan
Mulan.
enforced that trope. I'm not sure if they changed anything in the live action, but
Mulan?
yeah,
But
no, they. Wait, we're talking about the Disney animated movie, right?
Yeah, it's a Disney movie
Yeah,
that does it. I don't know if that's
I
the
don't.
right one.
That's not it. I
Yeah,
know
'cause
that's
I
not
haven't
it.
seen
where a
it.
Cause
white
that's
person saves
There's probably a few
is
actually.
it Pocahontas?
I think that's it. That makes
Pocahontas.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, because didn't they like
Pocahontas.
come there and they were like, yeah, so Pocahontas, you gotta come with us,
Mhm.
and it kind of forced her into their society. And in historical sense, she was actually like what, 14 years old.
Mhm.
But in the movie, she was like an adult, right, or
Yep.
something like that, 18.
And then the movie like just does complete injustice to what
They
actually happened.
they romanticized it.
They-
That's what they
yeah.
They
said.
romanticize it to make the white people look better.
Mhm.
That's what they do. That's what the white stereotype is about. Like that's really the point. But like to
Like,
tie it
oh,
back into like the what I was talking about,
Yeah.
it's like it just like seeing it and being there will help you. Kind of how those people go. Like they start off on the same mentality and the same wavelength as everybody else does. Like they sent them in Avatar. They sent them to do whatever they sent him to do. That he ended up understanding the culture, seeing it, and falling in love with it. I think more stuff like that needs to happen regularly to places like Africa because Africa in media and like in society is viewed so poorly. Everybody, you think of Africa, you think of poor, starving children.
third world
And
stuff
yes,
like
there's
that.
a lot of poor, starving children in Africa,
Mhm.
but that's not the point. You
It's
need to.
such. Oh, my fault.
Yeah, you good.
No,
Go ahead.
oh, okay. It's such a wealthy nation. Like when you look beyond the ads on TV saying donate such and such today to help this kid starving in that these kids starving in Africa, this group. Yes, those groups do exist, but there are so many areas in Africa that are actually
Mm.
great and beautiful and flourishing.
Mhm.
and not enough of a spotlight is placed on it. And that's why I started nodding my head like crazy when you said that,
Exactly.
because it's like crazy.
And their cultural practices, like some, okay, it's some that we're obviously not gonna agree with, but there's a lot that is like cool and makes sense and need to be, like glamorized. Not, I don't want to say glamorized, but like need to be shown
Focus
to the
more?
world. Yeah, focused
Yeah.
on. Like need to shed light more
Recognition
on
needs
it,
to be
so
given.
it's a better stigma around Africa, which will create a better stigma around Black people in general.
Exactly. I do agree on that. All right. What are some common fears and excitements that come with introducing your significant other to your family? Introducing your partner to your family can bring up a range of anxieties, as it involves navigating two of the most important relationships in your life. One common worry is whether your family will approve of your partner. This can be especially intense if your family has strong opinions, cultural expectations, or specific ideals about who they believe is the right match for you. Another source of anxiety is the fear of how well your partner and family will get along. Will their personalities mesh? Will they find common ground? The thought of awkward conversations or potential misunderstandings can add pressure to the situation. For the partner being introduced, there might be concerns about making a good first impression or being accepted by people who mean so much to their significant other. Similarly, you might feel responsible for ensuring that everything goes smoothly, balancing your family's dynamics while making your partner feel comfortable and welcome. These anxieties are normal because this milestone can feel like a test of compatibility, not just between you and your partner, but between your partner and the family dynamic as a whole. What are your thoughts?
As someone who hasn't introduced my partner, well, I've introduced my partner to my family, but it's only been on dates. So on my first one, my father got to meet her. On my second date, my mother got to meet her, but I've never like had her come over to my house or anything before. And the anxiety bit you mentioned just really stuck out to me, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly why, because it, like, as far as everything goes, everyone's cool with each other. Like, even when the parents met each other, it was all cool and everything. But that's really all I had to add.
Yeah, I just think the anxiety just stems from overthinking. Like when I met my, if I were to meet anybody's parents, I know who I am. I know I have good intentions. I'm not really worried. Like only way I'll be worried is if the person I'm dating tells me it's a big deal if my parents don't like you, because now I'm worried. Now
Right.
it's a big deal. Now I have to actually try instead of just being myself and just being natural and like, yeah.
And sometimes I feel that just throws things off a whole lot more, because people can tell when you're trying and people can tell when you're not trying. And so it's like some people don't. It's weird. It's very weird. If somebody already doesn't like you and you try to make them like you more, some people just push you away even further because of that. Other people will be like, okay, maybe they're not so bad, and that's what makes it such a tricky area to navigate.
Right, but at the same time, it's like, this is how I look at it. My relationship is between me and you. If my mom doesn't like you, I personally don't care. She would care. Like, my girlfriend would care if my mom didn't like her. I don't care.
Right.
Because, like, it doesn't matter. She doesn't even know you. She literally doesn't know you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't have any thoughts to share, so yeah. All right. Setting realistic expectations. So, setting realistic expectations is key to a smoother family introduction. It's important to remember that your partner and your family come from different worlds, with unique dynamics and personalities. Expecting immediate bonding or complete alignment on values can set everyone up for disappointment. Instead, approach this milestone with patience and flexibility. Ensure or encourage your partner to be themselves rather than feeling pressured to impress. At the same time, understand that your family may need time to adjust to this new relationship. Not everyone will connect instantly, and that's okay. It's the effort and mutual respect that matter the most. Remind yourself and your partner that this meeting is not about perfection, but about planting the seeds of connection. Start small. Focus on finding common ground, like shared hobbies or interests, rather than expecting deep conversations or instant friendships. Setting these realistic expectations will help ease any tension and create a more comfortable atmosphere for everyone involved. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. Just, I haven't really had a lot of opportunities to like hang out or even talk to my girlfriend's parents. Obviously, not her dad. So, and even when I did talk to her mom, it was kind of like, "Hi, bye, how are you?" I did call her, wish her happy birthday, stuff like that. But it's really nothing. It's really not much conversation.
Hmm.
But she does a lot. Like every time she sees my mom, she tries to make a conversation, or she might compliment her, or she wants like she'll start conversation, talk about something she's doing. Like she does a great job at that, and it's because she really wants my mom to like her. But like, I give her props for that definitely, because my mom appreciates it.
Hmm.
I kind of shared it. Yeah, just same thoughts. That was something I was actually looking for in conversation with her parents, and was just deep conversation, or not even really deep conversation, but just like,
Not your everyday
yeah,
generic
conversation that
conversation.
go past, like, hi, what's up, how you doing,
Hmm.
things good, so on and so forth. But sometimes you find that in other people within their family. Like, for example, her uncle was really cool, and we ended up having like not a heart to heart or anything that deep, but a great conversation about music, another great conversation about just life and how's it going, and
Hmm.
it was cool. So definitely, the less pressure you put on yourself by trying not to think about that, the better.
There's one more thing I forgot to add. So I did go to her like graduation cookout because she's a year younger than me. I do not. They all have very, very strong accents. I am struggling,
Hmm.
struggling. I be trying. I can't. Like, I literally try. I just feel so bad sitting in somebody's face. Like, I have no idea what you're saying. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know. I be trying, though. And she tells me her dad watches football a lot. Like, he's a Commanders fan. So I be wishing I could, like, talk to him because I like talking about football. I can talk about football with anybody. Even somebody who doesn't watch it a lot. I can talk about football with anybody. So, yeah, maybe one day.
Hmm. And there's nothing, there's no shame in, like, just struggling to understand accents and stuff. It is what it is.
Yes, I can't really do nothing about it.
Hmm. Hmm. Um, for me, I tried to, like, get to know the parents and stuff like that. Um, try to get on their good side, make sure that, like, always say hello, all the generic stuff. You guys are like, how are you doing? And things like that. But honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't get any further than that. Like,
Mm.
I don't think I've ever. I think for my first boyfriend, I think, like, I've been out with them once or twice, maybe once, and then my second, his mom came down to the campus because she is an alumni, and she did a barbecue for us at the not the plots, but the other place
Mhm.
next to clusters with the grills and stuff, and she made us food, and that was, like, really cool. But I'm not gonna lie, I think that was the only time I actually, like, hung out with her outside of their house.
Mm.
So, you know, um, oh, and then my second boyfriend, I always brought his grandmother flowers when I tried to,
Mhm.
and because I knew his grandmother was very important, an important part of his life, and so I wanted to make sure, like, because I've lost both my grandmothers, so it's just like, I'm showing that I care because I don't have any grandmothers, and I understand what it's like to have your grandmothers, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So I kind of wanted to just give her some flowers, because I like old people because they're adorable and stuff like that.
yeah.
So, yeah. All right. So, here are some conversation tips to have before the introduction. Discuss the family dynamic. Talk about the overall family atmosphere. So, whether it's close knit, formal, or laid back. Share any family traditions or unique habits that might come up during the meeting. 2. Give a heads up about family personalities. Mention key personality traits of your family members, like who's outgoing, who's shy, who tends to be outspoken. Highlight any potential challenges, like a family member who might be overly critical or someone with strong opinions. 3. Talk about sensitive topics. Prepare your partner by discussing topics that should be approached cautiously or avoided to prevent uncomfortable situations, like, as we all know, politics,
Mm.
religion, or past family issues. Be clear about what kinds of questions or conversations your partner might expect from your family. 4. Set expectations for engagement. Let your partner know what level of engagement to expect from family members. Like, will they be talkative, reserved, or ask a lot of questions? Discuss how to handle moments when conversations shift to topics your partner may not be familiar with. 5. Clarify your role as a supporter. Reassure your partner that you'll be there to support them and help navigate any tricky interactions. Talk about how to signal when they need to break or when they need a break, or how to gracefully shift the conversation if needed. 6. Address personal boundaries. Discuss what boundaries you both should maintain, such as personal space or topics that are off limits. And also, finally, prepare your partner for any family expectations regarding physical interactions like hugs or handshakes. What are your thoughts?
I think all of this is pretty good. You definitely need to give warnings for like everything.
Mhm.
You have
For
any
sure.
more like colorful family members. Some people you need to probably limit interactions with if you're like a bigger party or something like that. Certain things not to say to certain people, how to talk to certain, like all that stuff is important and needs to be known. Hopefully you don't have a family where there's a lot of stuff that needs to be pointed out,
Yeah.
but you can't really help that. So
Right.
just do what you can.
Right. Hopefully it's like a, just a healthy environment, right?
Yeah.
I like about the warning stuff because people don't tend to tell you, like, hey, my mom's a hugger, and maybe your partner doesn't like hugs.
Right.
So there's things like that. And, like, maybe even communicating to your mom, like, hey, just so you know, my boyfriend or my girlfriend do not like hugs. Just so that, your parent doesn't make your partner feel uncomfortable. So, yeah.
Yeah, you can hug my mom.
You can hug my mom too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, just avoid topics that would seem like, or not avoid topics, but definitely tell your partner of like what cannot be said, what can be said, or not necessarily what can be said, what just can't be, because that's the quickest way to create division between people.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What to tell your partner before meeting the family. 1. Tell. Positive traits. My mom is really warm and loves to chat. She'll probably ask you questions about your interests and hobbies. Important traditions. We always have dinner together on Sundays, and there's a bit of a ritual before we eat. It's something that means a lot to us. Family humor. We love jokes and tend to tease each other a lot, but it's all in good fun. Just be ready for a few laughs. Interest and background. My sister is really into music, so she might bring up your favorite songs or ask you what you like to listen to. 2. Avoid. Family conflicts. Just so you know, my uncle is going through a tough time and can be a bit moody. Don't let it bother you too much. Overly personal or negative information. My dad might bring up your past relationships or be blunt about his opinions. He doesn't mean anything by it, but it could be awkward. Excessive warnings. My brother tends to be sarcastic and it can be a lot. Just know that he's harmless, but it can be hard to handle. Hyping up expectations. Everyone will probably love you right away. Now this sets up unrealistic expectations that might lead to disappointment. What are your thoughts?
I would that sounds like something I would say because it's true. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't say it wasn't true. Just be yourself, and people are gonna like you. Like that's really what I'd be telling her. Be yourself. They're gonna like you. I know she's not gonna like. I just know you just gotta know. I'm just good at knowing the person that I'm dealing with. Like I know who you are. I know who they are. So I put you in this situation. I can see how that's gonna play out. You'll be fine. Like that's really all it is.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I mean, there's not a lot more that can be said, I feel like.
Because if you, let's say I was dating somebody for whatever reason that I would have to, like coach up a little bit. Like, even if that was the case, I just can't imagine that. Because why would I be dating somebody who I can't bring around my family? My family, especially my mom's side, they're just regular people. My dad's side, they might be a little more Yeah, they might.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't. They haven't. So my girlfriend hasn't met my dad's side. So everything I'm saying is just about like my mom's side,
Mm-hmm.
and those cousins on my mom's side are all older than me anyway. They're all adults. So everybody over there is basically old.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mhm.
and then my dad's side, they're a lot younger. There's some more my age. Just lot more moving pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So again, if I were to introduce her to that side of the family, I would tell her, be yourself, be open minded, because she can be closed minded, and they are more like they're like more, artsy and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
that's not
Mm-hmm.
really how she is. But
Mm.
so I just tell her, like I always tell her, be more open minded, and everybody's gonna like you. Just be yourself, and you'll be fine.
Right.
I sort of relate to that family thing too, because it's like, um, on my father's side, actually, it's almost the exact same, except my father is the old one, but everybody on his side tends to have a younger mindset, if that makes sense. So it's like, if there were people I had to introduce her to on his side, it's like, okay, here's a couple things. They're going to be very chatty. They're going to be like, oh, like bustling with laughter. Sometimes there will be drama. Just stay away from it. But for the most part, they're just a very social group of people, and that's like almost the opposite of my mother's side.
Mm-hmm.
We're more like, so if I did have to give a warning, because I didn't, but if I had to give a warning, it's like, hey, my mom is more chill. She's more like of an inside person. She doesn't really like our side. We don't really do too much outside. We don't do too much socializing. We're just a chill group of people. And then if I had to describe my father's side, it would just be like the exact opposite, which is kind of funny in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and when it comes to, and what I tell her, like, this is what I tell her when it comes to old people liking you, it literally is just like her. If I was to talk to her mom, for example, and I want her to like me, all I have to say is, yeah, I'm in college and I'm not stupid, and her mom's gonna like me. That's most moms. They just
Mm-hmm.
want to know that you have a plan, like you have a life, a goal, and you're not dumb, and you're not gonna do something dumb to their daughter.
Right. And dads are more like, do you have a job? And what else are
I feel
like?
Do you have a
are you not gonna
job?
hurt?
What's
Are
your
you not gonna
major?
hurt
Yeah, I
them?
feel like dads would be more like, don't hurt my daughter, don't do nothing to my daughter.
Right, or
make
I'm gonna
sure
hurt
get her
you,
back. Yeah, they're,
right.
they're
Yeah.
more on that. And moms are
Mhm.
more like making sure your mentality is right.
Mhm.
But like, damn, what was I gonna say? Yeah, I was gonna say, I would literally tell her, the first thing I want you to say. Matter of fact, I might tell them, because my girlfriend is in college to be a lawyer. So I would
Ooh,
tell them
okay.
that. Okay, they already like you. They already think you're about to be a lawyer. You don't have to do anything.
Right. Right. Like no stress.
Yeah,
No
just
stress.
relax. You don't even have to talk.
As long as you're doing something with yourself.
Yeah. And then eventually, especially with my dad's side, how they are, this is even how I am. They're always like on 100%, and me, I'm kind of more introverted. So it takes me some time to warm up and actually get like talkative. I might even need a couple drinks or something, but
Mhm.
she might be the same way. Like, you're gonna have to get used to be comfortable, obviously, around a bunch of new people, but they're all very loving, caring, and understanding people. They're
Right.
not gonna judge you for anything. So just, be yourself, get comfortable, and then have fun.
Right. I like that. Those some good suggestions. All right. How to introduce the topic to your family and prepare them. 1. Start with open communication. Be honest and direct. Let your family know that you're introducing your partner because they are important to you and that you want them to meet someone who plays a significant role in your life. Share the intentions. Emphasize that this introduction is a step toward integrating your relationship with your family, not necessarily a commitment or an engagement announcement. 2. Highlight positive attributes. Talk about your partner's strengths. Share things about your partner that you appreciate, such as their sense of humor, kindness, or shared interests. This helps set a positive tone and gives your family a reason to look forward to meeting them. Common interests. Mention any shared hobbies or interests between your partner and family members to create a natural conversation starter. 3. Set realistic expectations. Acknowledging initial awkwardness. Prepare your family for the fact that first meetings can be a bit uncomfortable or awkward. This helps manage their expectations and creates a more relaxed atmosphere. Explain your partner's background. Let your family know a little about your partner's background, but avoid sharing too much personal information that might make them feel defensive or uneasy. 4. Emphasize respect and open-mindedness. Encourage an open heart. Remind your family to be open-minded and give your partner a chance to show who they are. Discuss boundaries. If there are any sensitive topics to avoid or certain behaviors to be mindful of, communicate these to your family beforehand. 5. Choose the right time and place. Set up a comfortable environment. Plan the introduction in a setting that is familiar and comfortable for your family, such as a casual family gathering, a dinner at home, or relaxed lunch at a restaurant. Timing is key. Choose a time when your family members are not preoccupied or stressed, as this will help everyone be more present and engaged. 6. Be prepared for questions. Anticipate inquiries. Be ready for questions that your family might ask about your partner's life, interest, or background, and prepare your partner to answer these comfortably. Facilitate conversation. Encourage your family to ask questions and share stories to help the conversation flow naturally. What are your thoughts?
As far as like creating a comfortable conversation with those family members, sort of what you were saying, it's like being comfortable and just being open with yourself. I forgot which point I was trying to adjust, but I'll try to adjust it as directly as I can. That was actually kind of sort of how me and her uncle sort of clicked in a way, because the conversation just started rolling, and it was just being able to anticipate questions like, what's your major, what are you interested in? That's how we started talking about music, and from there everything just felt cool.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's a little hard to make I think it's hard to make conversations flow naturally, like regardless of who you're talking to, unless because it has to be mutual. Like they have to meet you halfway. You can't just a adult can't just walk up to you and be like, "Oh, how you doing? What's your name? How's your major?" Like that conversation is not gonna go anywhere, and that's not really your fault either. So it has to be meet you you're the uncle showed interest in something that you said, and the
Right.
conversation went from there, and vice versa, and that's how it has to go. So it's really not really all that pressure on you, but don't take it personal if somebody's not really you're not really talking to somebody as much as you like to, or if the conversations aren't what they are. That's just how stuff goes sometimes. You can really just do your best, just do your best, and whatever happens.
I agree. Strategies for setting boundaries and navigating sensitive topics. 1. Communicate clearly and early. Be proactive. Discuss boundaries with your family and partner before the meeting. This allows everyone to understand what topics or behaviors are off limits. Set ground rules. Share simple guidelines such as avoiding controversial topics like politics, religion, etc., unless everyone is comfortable discussing them. 2. Use I statements. Express your needs. Frame your boundaries in a way that emphasizes your feelings and perspective, like, I feel more comfortable when we avoid certain topics during our first meeting. Avoid blame. This helps keep the conversation positive and non-confrontational. 3. Prepare your partner. Share family dynamics. Let your partner know about specific family members' personalities and sensitivities so they can navigate interactions with more awareness. Discuss responses. Talk about how to respond calmly if a sensitive topic comes up. 4. Create a safe space for conversation. Private conversation. If a topic needs to be addressed, choose a more private moment where it can be discussed without the pressure of the whole group. Neutral ground. Keep discussions non-defensive and neutral, reinforcing a space where all parties feel heard and respected. 5. Have a plan for disagreements. Stay calm and collected. If a sensitive topic triggers an emotional response, try to de-escalate by steering the conversation away or suggesting a break. Focus on understanding. Remind everyone that the goal is to understand each other's perspectives, not to convince or convert. 6. Maintain flexibility. Be ready to adapt. Recognize that boundaries may need adjusting as the conversation progresses. If a topic unexpectedly becomes uncomfortable, gently guide it in a new direction. Respect limits. Be aware of your own and others' limits, and don't force discussions that feel too risky or volatile. 7. Follow up. Debrief with your partner. After the introduction, check in with your partner about what went well and what could be improved for future meetings. And, keep an open line with family. Stay open to feedback from your family, especially if they bring up concerns after the fact. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree that we shouldn't, you know, when those topics do come up, you have to,
Mhm.
like I said, be open minded, even if you feel as if you're clearly in the right. Be open minded. You're not here to change somebody's mind. You're not here to educate people.
Right.
You were literally invited there, probably. You were invited as a guest. So,
To just hang out.
yeah, so relax. You don't gotta go all CNN on nobody. So
Right.
relax, We cool.
And
Even if
oh
they're
my,
saying something, now you good. Even if they're saying something crazy, just be like, oh, okay, cool. You don't have to. You don't have to. Have that back and forth. It's not necessary.
right. And then even if it does eventually get to that back and forth point, I feel like de-escalating is a very essential skill. And while I haven't had any moments where I've had to de-escalate any situations yet, it's more so. I'll use a family example. I usually try to be more comedic with it, which doesn't always work, admittedly, but it is a strategy. And it's like maybe you'll like see someone tripped up over their word, and you're like, "What? What did you just say?
Hmm.
Did you just? Did you just?" And sometimes it'll be little things like that that get people to just laugh and like not really forget about it, but kind of sort of ease the tension of the room for a second. There are other strategies. It's just like redirecting the conversation and just like, at least from my experience with family, not really relationships, but
Do y'all be watching the
yeah.
dude where he'll sit at a table and he'll have like a group of teenagers in a circle and then somebody runs to the chair to debate him?
I've never seen that.
For real, it's like
Sorry.
the dude is like right wing. He be talking about like he's like pro life and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So it's obviously a bunch of like people around our age going there debating them, telling their points. But obviously they go up there and they start insulting them and stuff, and they make their points, and he will sit there and laugh it off and like make a joke. Qualities like that are really important when it comes to like being able, anything really. If you can have somebody attack you and not get emotional, you can play it off as a joke. You can lighten the tension. He lightens the tension literally because they're so angry about the way he thinks and the
Mhm.
stuff that he says that they literally come out there and attack him instead of actually debating. And he's just like, oh, okay, that was funny. That was a good one. And I just think that's like a really good skill to have, to just not take stuff so personally when like having a debate or conversation or anything.
Hmm.
Right. Just attack a point. Attack a point. If you are going to attack the point.
Right.
Okay. Now, how do you handle cultural differences? Now, you can do this by, approaching those differences in culture or religious beliefs, lifestyles, or values. Do this by 1. Embrace open mindedness. Acknowledge and respect. Recognize that cultural, religious, or lifestyle differences are natural and valid. Approach these differences with a mindset of curiosity and respect. Avoid judgment. Be conscious not to make snap judgments or assumptions. Give everyone a space to share and explain their beliefs or practices. 2. Engage in active listening. Listen to understand. When discussing differences, focus on truly understanding the other person's perspective instead of thinking about what you'll say next. Ask questions. Encourage conversations by asking thoughtful questions that show you're interested in learning more about their beliefs or traditions. 3. Educate yourself. Do your homework. Take the time to learn about your partner's cultural, religion, or lifestyle before meeting their family. This shows respect and helps you avoid making inadvertent missteps. Be informed, not assumptive. Familiarize yourself with common practices or beliefs to avoid misunderstandings. 4. Set common ground. Find shared values. Emphasize common beliefs and values that you share with your partner's family, such as love, kindness, or respect for one another. And celebrate similarities. Highlighting shared values can help bridge the gap and create a sense of unity. 5. Be patient and adaptable. Adjust expectations. Realize that cultural or religious practices might not align with your own. Approach these differences with patience and be prepared to adapt if necessary. Go with the flow. When visiting your partner's family or participating in cultural activities, stay flexible and be open to participating in new experiences, even if they are unfamiliar. 6. Show empathy and avoid stereotypes. See people as individuals. Remember that each person is unique, even within cultural or religious groups. Avoid generalizations or stereotypes that might lead to misunderstandings. Emphasize with their perspective. Try to see situations from the other person's viewpoint, which can help foster compassion and stronger relationships. 7. Communicate boundaries. Be honest about your limits. If there are certain aspects of a culture or religion that are challenging for you, communicate this with your partner respectfully and privately, not during the family meeting. Find compromises. Work together with your partner to find ways to respect each other's boundaries while still engaging with your respective families. 8. Focus on building bridges. Create shared experiences. Engage in activities or events that help everyone learn more about each other's backgrounds and foster mutual respect. Celebrate diversity. Look for opportunities to celebrate and appreciate the differences, turning them into a learning experience for all involved. And 9. Be prepared for challenges. Anticipate and manage misunderstandings. Differences can sometimes lead to misunderstandings or tension. Approach these moments with empathy and a commitment to understanding rather than confrontation. Stay grounded. Remind yourself of your relationship's purpose and the reasons you're making the effort to connect with your partner's family. Navigating cultural or religious differences require a blend of empathy, active listening, and adaptability. By being open, patient, and respectful, you create a foundation for harmonious relationships that celebrate both individual and shared values. What are your thoughts?
I agree completely. Like I said, open-mindedness is like really important. I think if everybody was more open-minded, the world would be a significantly better place.
Definitely.
I second that.
Yeah, I think that's always going to be good advice in anything. Like, be more accepting and open to people.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Especially like if it's like your situation where you're dating someone of a different culture. It's like, yes, people who are more Eastern from here, right? Because we're
Western.
are we? Yeah, Western.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Like people in more Eastern civilizations may do things that we think are completely crazy and insane. Yet we have to treat it with open-mindedness, even though some things I'm not going to speak on because the sake of it, but some things I think are just flat out abysmal and should not happen at all. But most things can be approached with open-mindedness, and with that, you're cool with anything.
Yeah,
honestly.
there's definitely practices in other countries that are like wild, but I think that's probably our fault too. I mean, our fault. I mean, America,
Mhm.
because of stuff that stopped their development.
Mhm.
True.
So, you know, see how you gotta look at it. But
Yeah.
even with, on a smaller scale, like people are gonna be themselves, and especially with people who have their own sociological cues that they grew up, you know.
Just practicing again and again and again
Exactly.
because it's just to
Exactly.
them
That's
it's
just
tradition.
that's normal to them. What their normal might not be our normal, and that's just what you gotta understand.
Mhm. And you can't change it. You can't force them to unlearn their culture and to learn yours.
Right.
Exactly.
That's exactly what the colonists did when they came over to America. They were like, "Oh, Indians.
See,
We're going to force you to convert to Christianity and all the different branches of Christianity. There's many of them."
Oh, and then by the way, the ones of you who don't convert, we're gonna kill you off. Just
Exactly.
because we feel like it.
Or enslave you. And it's too much.
Yeah,
Too
don't call
much.
them as your partners, guys.
Yes.
Please.
Let them be themselves, please. Tips for embracing diversity within families and fostering acceptance. 1. Promote open dialogue. Encourage conversations. Create an environment where family members feel comfortable sharing their thoughts and experiences. Open dialogue can break down misconceptions and foster mutual understanding. Ask questions. Invite family members to share their perspectives and stories, which can highlight the richness of diverse backgrounds. 2. Lead by example. Model acceptance. Show respect and acceptance in your own interactions. Your behavior can set the tone for others to follow. Demonstrate curiosity and respect. Show genuine interest in learning about different cultures, religions, and beliefs. When others see you doing this, they may be more inclined to do the same. 3. Celebrate cultural practices. Incorporate traditions. Include family traditions or practices from different backgrounds in family events. This can be as simple as celebrating holidays, trying new foods, or learning dances and songs. Host inclusive gatherings. Create events where diverse traditions and customs are shared and celebrated together, fostering a sense of community. 4. Educate and share knowledge. Provide information. Share books, movies, or resources that highlight diverse cultures and experiences. This can be a subtle way to introduce family members to new perspectives. Invite guest speakers. If possible, invite knowledgeable individuals from different backgrounds to talk about their experiences and educate family members. 5. Emphasize shared values. Highlight commonalities. Focus on values that everyone can relate to, such as love, compassion, family loyalty, and the importance of community. Finding common ground helps to bridge gaps between different perspectives. Celebrate what unites. While acknowledging differences, bring attention to what binds your family together, whether it's shared goals, traditions, or the joy of spending time together. 6. Create a safe environment for expression. Be respectful of differences. Teach family members to respect differing opinions and beliefs, even if they don't agree with them. Use positive language. When discussing diversity, use language that fosters understanding and acceptance, avoiding divisive or judgmental words. 7. Address prejudices and stereotypes. Challenge negative assumptions. If you hear prejudiced remarks or stereotypes, address them calmly and respectfully with facts and examples. Educate on biases. Encourage family members to reflect on their own biases and provide resources or workshops on understanding unconscious biases. 8. Encourage empathy and perspective taking. Put yourself in their shoes. Invite family members to consider what it might be like to walk in someone else's shoes. Sharing stories and personal experiences can foster empathy. Practice active listening. Make sure everyone feels heard and understood. Active listening involves paying attention, asking clarifying questions, and responding thoughtfully. 9. Be patient and consistent. Understand it's a process. Fostering acceptance is not an overnight change. It requires patience and a commitment to ongoing dialogue and learning. Celebrate progress. Acknowledge and appreciate when positive steps are taken toward greater acceptance and understanding. 10. Respect boundaries. Recognize comfort levels. Understand that some family members might take longer to adapt to new perspectives. Respect their boundaries and give them time. Encourage gradual change. Introduce new ideas or practices gradually to allow people to process and adapt at their own pace. What are your thoughts?
I think it's really important. Like, I didn't realize how much I would have to educate my parents when I got older, but like my dad definitely he needs some work. And my mom, I think our parents grew up so different from us. They live completely different lives. Like, think about it. What teenagers do your parents come across other than you or your siblings?
It may be a couple of your friends at school, and that's it.
Maybe any. Now, my dad does work at a high school, so he's a little bit more in touch. But my mom, she doesn't come across anybody even close to my age. She has no idea, like, why we do the stuff we do, why we say the stuff we say, why we act the way we act. So you got to give them that benefit of the doubt when they, aren't as, like, in tune with the way society is now and the life that we're living. But when trying to, push, I don't want to say push, but, like, enlighten them on, like, other cultures and being more open-minded, I remember you saying, like, suggest, like, books or stuff like that. I feel like that can help if you're willing, but it can also make it feel like you're forcing me to do something. Nobody wants to be forced to do anything. Like,
Right.
if you throw a book at me, I'm not reading it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Simple.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I might like the book, I'm not reading it just because you want me to read it. Because what's wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, stuff like that. It could get a little. It has to feel more natural, because when trying to, like, you know how they say you can't teach old dog new tricks. When trying to, like,
Mhm.
you know, help somebody a little bit older understand stuff, it can be more. You have to be more careful. Is what I should say, depending on the person, of course.
For sure. Oh, I thought you were gonna say.
Oh no,
my
no,
fault.
I was just saying I agree.
Yeah, and on like, surprisingly, the opposite way around it is for my family. My mother is the one who's in touch, and my father is the one who's more so out of touch and still, like, admittedly relives his glory days here and there. But the importance of being in touch with cultures, and not even just like other cultures outside of America, but in it as well. There's a lot of new, like, terminology and a lot of other things that, like, we say all the time. And this is sort of unrelated. I apologize for getting off the topic, but
I'd be like that.
I blinked. But what ended up happening was, like, my mom uses new terms all the time, and I'll turn my head and I'll be like, what did you just say? Because I'll be so confused. But it's a great thing to do because she knows what we're saying, and she knows, like,
I'm trying to familiarize
customs
yourself
of- yeah.
with the terms that we use.
and it's
Like, I don't know what kind of terms we
My
use.
dad the other day, because he works at his school teacher, he'd be like, yeah, I be seeing the YNs with the mask on. I was like, the what?
Yeah. Yes, that's a new one, the YNs.
I was like, what do you, like, okay.
Or what are other terms that we use?
I don't like to use this one, but my mother was like, my brother, I forgot what exactly he
Or like,
did, but he did some weird stuff, and she was like, or he had said some weird stuff, and she was like, hold up, no Diddy, what are you doing? And I'm like, what did you
No
just say?
Diddy?
Yeah.
Yo, Mom, where you on Instagram or something?
I don't know.
Or we use the word like shorty.
Shorty?
Shorty.
I feel like that's more area based, like where you live.
Oh,
People
okay.
in, like, certain areas
Really? 'Cause I
say that
swear I
more than
hear-
others.
I hear people who didn't grow up in, like, I guess urban areas even use that
It's
word.
not really an urban thing though. It's literally just like wherever
I-
certain areas just say it more than others. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And they say it different too.
Uh-huh.
Like you might hear shorty, shawty. It just
Oh,
Yeah.
right. It's like
Okay.
an accent thing. Okay.
Yeah,
I was about to sit here and say, I've been hearing that forever. I'm like, what?
yeah, it just
But-
depends on where you live, really.
It does.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I can't think of any other terms we use
Oh
off the top of my
God.
head.
Man,
There's
I don't
too
even-
many.
it's not even the terms. I have an 11-year-old little cousin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all know the game Chopsticks?
No,
No.
Okay, well, it's basically a game you play. It's like a little game. It's
I think.
yeah, it's just a little game you play. It's yeah. So I beat him 3 times. He beats me once, and he goes like this.
Oh my God, he go like,
He starts mewing on me, and I was like, okay, but that's how I look at it. And then he also says all the skibbity toilet riz, you're L Phantom Tax,
That
all
one.
all that brain rot nonsense.
Or like, oh my
I
God.
hate it.
Or like, like they like stroke their ear and stuff like that.
It's
Yeah.
complete nonsense, but that is exactly how our parents look at us when we do anything. Like when we do anything,
Completely
they're like,
crazy.
what is that?
Or when they see us doing the TikToks and they're just staring at us in the back like,
Yeah, exactly.
like, what are you
That's-
doing?
That's how I look at it. Like that's really what the gap is, and this is gonna keep going. That's just how that is. So.
They're just like, you know what? This is just their generation. I have to kind of accept it. Like I know how many times I've been walking through a store and I walk past an aisle and all I see is my siblings doing a TikTok and I'm just like, Jesus.
I mean, I kind of sort of think it's a beautiful thing though, because it's like, I don't know if y'all heard of this being a problem back in like the 90s or whatever, but it was like an area where like Gen X and millennials were pretty much like participating, listening to the same type of music, doing the same type of things and everything. There wasn't really much of a generation gap.
There wasn't any growth.
And-
Wasn't any growth.
Not any growth, but just not like my fault. Yeah, difference. But yeah, growth too. As far as like their differences, because everybody was doing the same thing. So while I hate those brain rot terms with a passion, I'm all right with it being a
It has to be different.
gap
Like
there,
we
but it's
have
like
to progress as a society. We can't keep everybody can't do the same stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, like
So
we have
eventually, yeah, change will come over time.
to exactly.
An update.
A bad update.
I mean, it could be bad. It could be good. You know, you look at the '90s. How did they act? A lot of stuff that we do now, they would call you gay for.
They would.
Yeah. Yeah.
We probably wouldn't be sitting here. I mean,
Right.
you know, it's a lot of stuff. But as long as we're progressing, it's really not all that bad.
Right.
And
Right.
most of the issues that we have, like most of the, like I was saying, the cultural issues where we have to like explain stuff to our parents. That stuff, if that stuff was taught to the youth, we wouldn't have that issue. It's really an education problem.
It is.
I agree. Here are some real life examples of couples successfully bridging cultural gaps. Rachel and Juan. Rachel, an African American woman, and Juan, a Mexican American man, faced challenges when introducing their different cultural backgrounds to their families. Rachel's family initially had concerns about language barriers and cultural differences, while Juan's family was worried about how his heritage would be represented. To bridge the gap, Rachel and Juan made an effort to celebrate each other's traditions. They hosted joint cultural dinners where Rachel's family learned to cook Mexican dishes and Juan's family learned to make traditional soul food. This shared experience brought their families closer and encouraged open discussions about their backgrounds. Over time, their relatives began to see the beauty in their different cultural practices and became more accepting. Hannah and Theo. Hannah, a Jewish woman, and Theo, a Greek Orthodox man, had to navigate the challenges of merging their religious and cultural traditions when they were planning their wedding. To help their families feel included, they involved both sides in the wedding planning. They chose a venue that allowed them to incorporate religious customs from both traditions, such as the lighting of candles in a symbolic ceremony and a traditional Greek dance at the reception. During the event, Hannah's family learned about the significance of the Greek Orthodox blessings, while Theo's family joined in celebrating the Jewish traditions. This thoughtful integration of their traditions led to an event that both families enjoyed, creating lasting bonds and breaking down barriers. Now, here are some suggestions for respectful communication and open-mindedness. Listen actively. Show that you're engaged by nodding or using affirming words like I see or that makes sense, and avoid interrupting and just take the time to understand their perspective. Acknowledge differences without judgment. Recognize that cultural or lifestyle differences exist and just don't judge them as right or wrong. Instead, just approach it as this is just a unique perspective that can enrich the conversations. Ask questions. If you don't understand something, always ask questions to clarify so that you can understand. For example, can you tell me more about what that means to you? Use I statements. Communicate your feelings and thoughts using I statements to avoid sounding accusatory. For instance, I feel concerned when, instead of you always. This fosters an environment where others are more willing to engage without becoming defensive. Avoid stereotyping. Steer clear of generalizations or stereotypes that can lead to misunderstanding or offense. Instead, treat each person as an individual and avoid attributing traits to an entire culture or group. Be open to learning. Maintain respectful body language. So, nonverbal cues can communicate a lot. Maintain eye contact, stay relaxed, and use open body language to show that you are approachable and engaged. Stay calm during disagreements. If emotions are running high, take a break and return to the conversation when both sides can speak more rationally. Focus on common ground. Highlight shared values or experiences. This can help build a sense of connection and understanding, even if the opinions differ. Practice empathy. Put yourself in other person's shoes and try to see the situation from their perspective. Respond in a way that acknowledges their feelings and experiences, even if they're different from your own. What are your thoughts?
I would say I agree because
Yeah.
These are all like a lot of points that should be already established in the relationship, like a lot of communication stuff that is would have to traverse every other topic more than just the cultural differences. I did want to say though, my girlfriend told me we were having two weddings, a regular one and an African one.
Ooh.
I don't know what that means, but whatever. Sounds good. You like it, I love it.
I think she means like just a traditional wedding where you're in a church, you're at the
Yeah, like one
pew.
for my people and
Yeah,
one for hers.
right. And then maybe their tradition's more like more African and maybe slightly more different. And honestly, I think that would be really cool to do.
Sounds expensive.
Have you
Yeah.
looked
It's
into it?
expensive.
I mean, it's kind of a ways away, personally. So yeah.
No, I mean
But,
like my fault.
she said she went to one, and I saw like pictures and videos. I mean, it sounded really active, and it went on for a while.
Yeah, I hear they're
Oh.
very
So it's
spiritual, very like
I mean,
engaging.
I'll do my best, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna be me. Like, my social battery runs out. It runs out. I'm sorry.
All right, I
I
respect
feel
that.
that.
All right. Okay, I'm just making sure that you were gonna say something.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
It's just like I'm thinking about how that type of wedding would be though, because it's just like
Lit.
that's what it sounds like. But at the same time, I'm just like Dylan. Like I have not a low social battery, but
But it's gonna run out.
yeah, it's enough to make
And
it
when
through
runs
a
out,
day.
It runs out. When
Yeah.
it runs out, it runs out. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll try my best. Like really, I don't even care about the wedding. I'm a dude, so I don't care about what the wedding looks like. I don't
Mhm.
care. It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be cool. Like yeah.
Mhm.
So
That's all he wants. It's a nice, cool.
yeah, like as long as I
Gotcha.
just want nothing bad to happen and have a good time.
Mhm.
Like that's all I care about. I don't care about the venue and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I
All the
For real.
details.
Yeah, I just my family gonna be there. Her family gonna be there. It's gonna be cool.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, what do we do when challenges arise? Handling potential conflicts or misunderstandings with family members, especially when introducing a partner, can be challenging, but manageable with thoughtful strategies. Here are some effective ways to navigate these situations. Stay calm and composed, listen and validate. So make sure all parties feel heard. Acknowledge the other person's feelings by using phrases like, I understand that you feel, or I see why that would be difficult for you. This helps to diffuse tension and shows that you respect their perspective even if you disagree. Clarify misunderstandings. Make sure that you communicate clearly so that everyone understands and has the correct context. Find common ground. Be open to compromise. Understand that a lot of times you may have to meet in the middle, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Set boundaries. Make sure that you're able to say something like, I think we need to take a break and revisit this discussion later. This allows people to cool off and then return to the conversation at a later time. Keep the focus on the bigger picture. Remind everyone involved of the main goal, building relationships and fostering understanding. Keeping the focus on positive intentions can help reframe conversations away from conflict and toward connection. Offer reassurance. If your partner feels uncomfortable or unsure, make sure you provide reassurance and support them. Involve a neutral mediator. If tensions are high, consider bringing a neutral third party, such as a family member who can remain objective or a professional mediator, to help facilitate the conversation. Reflect and learn. After any conflict, take the time to reflect on what worked well and what didn't. Discuss with your partner how to approach similar situations in the future and make adjustments based on what you've learned. What are your thoughts?
Compromise. That's a very important one. For sure. Just in life in general. Especially if you reach a disagreement to topics that we talked about earlier, such as differences in culture, differences in anything. Sort of what we were saying earlier, some cultures do have crazy or wild practices, like Dylan said, and sometimes you just have to go along with it. Sometimes you will just have to say, okay, I respect the place you're coming from. Okay, you respect the place I'm coming from, and we'll agree to disagree. Because eventually what that ends up doing is it may or may not, I'm not sure if it will or it has in your case, but just create further division beyond partners or even families, and that's not what we want when we're introducing a family member or our entire family for that matter to another family.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like my girlfriend's under the impression that like I'm not as open as I might be because he doesn't really like push anything on me, and I understand why because she doesn't want me to, build resentment. So, but like I said, she has Americanized. It's not really that apparent. Like every day we talk every day, and nothing like that comes up. But like when it comes to her family and stuff like that, then the stuff comes up, and I'm always gonna be okay with it. Like, and vice versa. It should be a team thing. There's always gonna be like it has to be discussion. Everything is you can't read each other's mind. We have to understand like what we expect from each other in
Hmm.
every aspect. So
For
yeah, it's
sure.
really not as complicated as people make it.
I agree.
Do you have anything to add? Or
No.
no? Damn.
No. No. All right. Staying grounded and supporting each other through tough moments is essential for maintaining a strong relationship, especially when navigating the complexities of family interactions. Here are some key pieces of advice. Prioritize open communication. Regular, honest communication with your partner helps both of you stay on the same page. Share your feelings, concerns, and experiences openly. This openness creates a supportive environment where both of you feel understood and validated. Be each other's safe space. Validate their emotions by saying things like, I'm here for you, or we'll get through this together. Knowing that there's a safe space to express themselves can help reduce stress and build resilience. Practice active listening. So make sure that you're not jumping to conclusions or interrupting. Make sure you're actually listening, processing what they're saying, and not listening to respond. Stay present. When challenges arise, it's easy to get caught up in worries about the future or doubts about the past. Ground yourself and make sure you remain in the present moment. Mindfulness techniques, such as deep breathing or pausing to center yourself, can be effective in staying grounded. Express empathy and understanding. A simple acknowledgement like, I understand why that would be difficult for you, can go a long way in making them feel supported. Keep perspective. Remind each other the larger goals of your relationship and the reasons why you are in this journey together. Set time aside for each other. Amidst the chaos, carve out time to be together without distractions. Whether it's a dinner date, a walk, or simple sitting down to talk, maintain that one-on-one connection reinforces your bond and keeps you both emotionally strong. Take breaks when needed. If tensions run high or during difficult conversations or family interactions, don't be afraid to take a short break. This can help with everybody cooling down, gather their thoughts, and return to the conversation with a clear mind. Offer encouragement and positivity. Encouragement can be as simple as saying, I'm proud of how you handled that, or we're making progress, even if it's slow. And also, work as a team. By applying these strategies, you and your partner can navigate difficult moments with strength, understanding, and a commitment to each other's well being. Encourage connection, not perfection. When introducing your partner to your family, it's important to emphasize that the goal is connection, not perfection. The pressure to create a flawless first meeting can be overwhelming, but it's unrealistic and can set up expectations that are difficult to meet. Instead, focus on fostering genuine interactions where everyone can begin to understand and relate to one another. Remind yourself and your partner that building a relationship with family members is a process that takes time. The first meeting might be a little awkward and have its moments that don't go as planned, and that's okay. These initial introductions are the beginning of a journey, not the final destination. It's more valuable to make authentic connections, even if they're small or imperfect, than to strive for an idealized encounter that leaves everyone feeling pressured or uncomfortable. Encourage your partner and family members to be open and present, and remind everyone that it's normal for these interactions to be a little nerve-wracking. Share stories or moments that can help break the ice and create shared experiences. Whether it's a laugh over a story, a funny story, or a light conversation, these moments lay the groundwork for future connections. Ultimately, the goal is to create a foundation of understanding, respect, and openness. Even if the first meeting doesn't go exactly as planned, over time, the relationships will grow stronger, and what started as an initial introduction will transform into a series of shared memories and bonds that deepen your connection with your family and partner. Can you guys share an example of a memorable or funny family meeting story, if you have any?
Hmm.
Okay. Well, yeah. Basically, the first time, like I said, when we first started, when we first met, when she first met my dad, she was just there, and then my dad came home, and then I kind of like paced around him for a little bit because he wasn't going downstairs. Like if he went downstairs, none of that would ever happen. I would have just left. But he didn't leave, so I was like, all right, whatever. So then I brought her out, and then she was like, nice to meet you, da da da. And then he just left. He just went downstairs. I was like, why didn't you do that 20 minutes ago? But yeah, I mean, he, like I said, he didn't really care. So
Um, it's not really a meeting story, but it's a funny one nonetheless. So my mother finally met her for the first time, and what ended up happening was what ended up actually happening was when we pulled up to the museum, she ended up hugging her out of the blue. I gave her no warning that my mom would do something like that because I didn't even think she'd do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But just out of the blue, she just hugged her, and I'm like sitting there like, what the hell? And neither of us questioned it or anything. We just went along as like we did, but it was kind of funny because it caught me off guard. That's like the closest thing I have to funny meeting story.
yeah, the first time I met her mom was at her graduation cookout, and like I think she hugged me. I like her like she's really like outgoing
Mm-hmm.
and like so she's smiling all the time, da, 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 hugging me, and I'm like, okay, yeah, and I'm kind of like nervous because I'm like, this is how I am. Like, I don't really know this person, but
Mm-hmm.
so I'm just trying to be nice and that. And then they had me take food out the car and carry it to the back. I was like, okay, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
What's up with that?
For me, funny family, like first, like my family meeting. I'm gonna say for one of my boyfriends, he was taller than my first one, like much taller. So when my family met him for the first time, they were like, damn, he's tall.
Mhm.
Because my first boyfriend, he was much shorter. So that's kind of the only funny story I have. Yeah. So, how do you support your partner post introduction? Just debrief with them. Make sure you provide an opportunity for both of you to share thoughts, feelings, and any concerns that arose during the meeting. It's a space where you can reflect together on what went well, what could be improved, and how each of you felt throughout the process. Debriefing helps you to create a shared understanding and alignment between you and your partner. It can bring to light any anxieties or discomforts they may have experienced and allow you to address them in a supportive and non-judgmental way. For example, if your partner feels nervous or out of place, talking it through can help them process those feelings and reassure them that it's natural to feel that way in a new environment. Similarly, if something positive stood out, such as a family member warming up to your partner, acknowledging that can boost their confidence and make them feel more welcome in the family dynamic. These conversations also reinforce trust and communication in your relationship. They show your partner that you care about their experience and value their perspective. It's also an opportunity to discuss next steps and how to approach future interactions, setting a positive trajectory for further bonding between your partner and your family. Lastly, debriefing is a chance to strengthen the emotional connection between you and your partner. Sharing moments of vulnerability and support after a significant event helps solidify your partnership and ensures that you're both on the same page moving forward. It creates a space where both of you can feel heard, validated, and united as you navigate the complexities of blending your worlds together. So, how do you maintain a strong relationship after introducing your partner to your family? Well, regardless of how that meeting went, it requires open communication, empathy, and a focus on your partnership. Here are some suggestions. Prioritize open communication. Keep those lines open. Be honest, yet gentle. And when you're discussing any concerns or feelings that surfaced, this will help you understand each other's perspectives and prevent misunderstandings from growing. Reaffirm your commitment. Remind each other that the bond you share is more important than a single family interaction. Express your commitment to your relationship and reinforce that you're in this together. Even if the meeting didn't go perfectly, what matters most is the strength of your partnership and the support you give one another. Practice empathy. Avoid holding grudges. If your family didn't react positively or if there were any uncomfortable moments, make an effort not to hold grudges against them or your partner. Family dynamics are complex, and sometimes initial reactions are not reflective of the full picture. Give it time and focus on building trust gradually. Schedule time for your partner. Make sure you give you guys some quality time for just you and your partner to reconnect and unwind after the meeting. Use that time to focus on each other, share positive memories from the day, or simply be in each other's company to reinforce your relationship. Be supportive. Compliment them for any effort they made. Validate their emotions, and express appreciation for their willingness to step into a potentially intimidating situation. Set realistic expectations for the future. Understand that, family dynamics are rarely resolved in one meeting. So, if you and your partner didn't hit it off, just be patient and, it'll happen eventually. Create positive experiences. Plan a follow-up for both your family and your partner that's relaxed or an enjoyable setting. Focus on the big picture. Remind yourself that one challenging meeting does not define your entire relationship. And encourage growth. Use the experience as an opportunity to learn and grow together. These strategies will help you reinforce your bond with your partner, maintain a resilience in your relationship, and promote a positive outlook on future family interactions. What are your thoughts?
I feel like debriefing is very important after meeting someone else's family or having a meaningful conversation with them, especially. I remember it wasn't even really exactly a debriefing. It was really just like a question I asked of, well, how did things go? Because I was interested, and she said came across good, so on and so forth, and then we just kept talking about it from there. And then after that, everything was smooth sailing. It felt like.
Yeah, I feel like the debriefing part in most cases what happened naturally. Like I feel like it was the next conversation we probably had after she left, and it was like something about it. So I think I also wanted to add that in my situation specifically, it's more. It was more. I was more nervous meeting her close friends than I was her family, even though it's kind of the same thing. Cause a lot of her close friends are like sisters, or actually one of them are her cousins. So yeah, stuff like that is. Yeah, I'm just saying, like all of that applies to that situation as well. So yeah.
Okay. All right. How do you maintain the balance? And what is maintaining balance? Balancing family opinions with the needs of your relationship can be challenging, but it's essential for maintaining harmony and supporting your partnership. Here are some pieces of advice to help manage this balance. Prioritize your partner and the relationship. While your family opinions can be valuable, it's important to remember that you and your partner are building a life together, and your needs as a couple should be the foundation for major decisions. Communicate your boundaries clearly. Make sure both your family and partner understand your priorities and boundaries. Explain to your family that while you value their input, your relationship is the most important aspect of your life, so they need to be respectful. And you should be respectful, but firm about what you're willing to take on board and what you're not. Open dialogue with your partner. Maintain open and honest conversations with your partner about how you both feel regarding family opinions. Acknowledge family concerns, but don't let them dominate. It's natural for families to have opinions about your relationship, often stemming from a place of love and concern. Listen to their perspectives without dismissing them outright. Choose what to share. Be selective about which family opinions you share with your partner and vice versa. Sharing too much can create tension and lead to unnecessary stress. So just learn how to filter out comments that you don't really need to share with your partner. Set boundaries for family involvement. Make sure you set those clear boundaries about how much involvement your family will have in your relationship. For example, if certain topics or areas are off limits, like decisions about finances, major life changes, or private matters, make it known in a respectful way. Validate each other's feelings. Stand firm in your own values. Maintain perspective. Now, keep in mind that no relationship is perfect and family dynamics can be complicated. Focus on the positive aspects of your relationship and let those strengths help you navigate challenges. Seek compromise when necessary. Sometimes there might be a middle ground that satisfies both your family and your partner. Look for areas where compromise is possible without sacrificing your relationship's needs. Trust your instincts. Ultimately, you are the best judge of what's right for your relationship. Trust your intuition and the strength of your partnership. Now, if family disapproval continues, it's important to stay firm yet compassionate. Here are a few strategies to manage persistent disapproval. Reaffirm your commitment. Tell your family, hey, this is my partner and I'm committed to them. And you make sure you say that in a respectful way, but also make sure they respect that. Limit conversations. If discussions about your relationship are consistently negative, consider limiting these conversations with your family. Stay unified with your partner. Seek support from trusted allies. If there are family members who are more supportive or neutral, lean on them for encouragement and understanding. Practice empathy and patience. Reevaluate your approach. If disapproval persists, consider having a more serious, open-ended conversation to address deeper concerns. Accept that you can't control everything. Understand that you can't force people to approve of your relationship. Sometimes acceptance is the only option, and it may take time for your family to come around. Focus on what you can control. Direct your energy toward nurturing your relationship and strengthening your bond. This focus can help you feel grounded despite any external negativity. Ultimately, prioritize your well-being and relationship over trying to please everyone. Family relationships may improve with time as your partner becomes more established part of your life, or they may stay strained. Either way, staying true to yourself and your relationship is what matters most. Now, to prepare for introducing your partner to your family, start by setting realistic expectations. I'm going to say that again. Here are the key takeaways for this episode. To prepare for introducing your partner to your family, start by setting realistic expectations for both your partner and your family. Communication is key. Having open discussions with your partner about family dynamics and what to expect, and prepare your family by sharing important details about your partner and setting boundaries for sensitive topics. Bridging differences, particularly in culture, values, or lifestyle, involves approaching these differences with respect and an open mind. Embrace diversity by fostering acceptance and using respectful communication. Be patient and empathetic, focusing on building connections rather than achieving perfection. To make the experience positive, emphasize that the goal is connection, not a flawless meeting. Support each other through any challenges. Debrief afterward to process and maintain mutual understanding, and focus on nurturing your relationship regardless of the outcome. Balance the input of your family opinions with your relationship needs, and if disapproval persists, stay grounded and prioritize your well-being while showing patience and empathy. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to challenge you, our listeners, to take the first step and open up a conversation with your partner or family about the possibility of them meeting each other. If you're at that stage in your relationship, start discussing what that experience might look like and what both sides might expect. Be open, honest, and patient as you navigate this process, remembering that this conversation is a key step in preparing for a positive and meaningful introduction. Take this opportunity to set the tone, share your hopes, and make sure everyone feels heard and understood. I would like to thank my wonderful guests for joining me today. So thank you.
Woohoo!
Yes. And thank you so much for tuning into today's episode of Love Unfiltered. I hope you found valuable insights and tips for navigating the journey of introducing your partner to your family. It's not always easy, but with open communication and realistic expectations, it can be a positive and bonding experience. I'm excited to let you know that our next episode will be titled The Marathon or the Sprint, Choosing Your Path. A deep dive into the differences between long-term and short-term relationships and how to know what path is right for you. Be sure to join me as we explore this important topic, sharing advice and real-life stories to help you make the choices that align with your goals and heart. Until next time, take care and keep spreading love.